Northern Canada has some of the most amazing landscapes on the planet, and I'm driving as far north as I can to see it with my own eyes. This is a trip of a lifetime, and if you ever plan to do it, I promise you, you won't be disappointed. Over the course of 2 weeks, we will be traveling as far north as we can to try and reach the end of the road. This journey will take us to Tuktuyaktuk, a small community at the end of the Dempster Highway in the Northwest Territories. We begin our drive in Vancouver, British Columbia, at the southern end of the country. For the first few hundred kilometers, the landscape changes constantly, from rainforests to deserts, ranchlands to endless forest. This province just has it all. I decided to take a detour to drive through one of my favorite areas, the Canadian Rockies. I had the opportunity to pass through Jasper National Park, which unfortunately a few days later will be burned to the ground because of the wildfires. I found out while I was on the road, and I couldn't believe it. I was just there a few days ago, and now it was all gone. As we continue traveling north, we reach our first milestone, Dawson Creek, British Columbia, and the Mile Zero monument of the Alaska Highway. This 1,300-mile long road was constructed during World War II to connect the rest of the United States to Alaska, and it was finally completed in 1942. Once legendary for being rough and challenging drive, the highway is now paved over its entire length. The vast majority of the highway is very remote and isolated, which allows for endless scenes of wildlife. After many hours of driving, we have reached our second milestone, the Lyre Hot Springs, just south of the Yukon border. What a great place to relax, especially after a long drive like this. After that much needed break, we finally reached the Yukon, the land of the midnight sun. Shortly after entering the Yukon, we reached Watson Lake and the Signpost Forest, one of the most iconic landmarks of the Alaska Highway. It started in 1942 when a homesick soldier, recovering from an injury, erected the first signpost pointing towards his hometown, Danville, Illinois. Over the course of the following years, visitors all over the world have added their own signs, and it is estimated that there is already over 100,000 more signs, with more being added every day. Just here checking out this signpost forest. There's so many and so many cool places too, all over from Alaska to South America, Brazil, Argentina. I've seen many from Europe, Asia, the Philippines. There's so many. I don't even think I can look at all them all. Okay, so here's an update. We're in Whitehorse at the visitor center back there. We just found out that there's a fire in between here and Dawson City, which has the road closed. There's a detour you can take, which means going into Alaska and adding another 4 to 5 hours of driving, the guy's telling me. So I think not ideal, but they said that the fire has been going on for about 9 days now, and they have been opening and closing the road on and off with pilot cars, and today it's been closed all day. Some people have been waiting 6 to 10 hours to let them through, and right now it's closed and they don't have any idea of if it will be opening soon or if it's going to stay closed for a long time. The fire is pretty big apparently, and it's right on the highway, so for that matter I'm gonna have to I think take the detour, add the extra 5 hours or whatever it might be, and go through Alaska. I'm not really against the idea. I think It'll be really neat to cross into Alaska. In fact, at the beginning of this trip, I thought I was gonna go to the Arctic Ocean at the end of Alaska, but later I decided that I wanted to go to Tuktuyaktuk instead. It seemed to be a little more safer bet than going to Alaska. So anyways, my wife is on the way here from Vancouver. She's flying in, and I told her to grab the passport since we're gonna have to cross an international border. Pretty stoked about that, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so here's a pretty cool map of the Yukon and the roads. I'm gonna give you a quick update of what we're gonna have to do to basically make it to Dawson City. We're here in Whitehorse. We're gonna have to, or initially we had to take this road into Stewart Crossing where the fire is, and then over here to Dawson City. Now that, like I said, that's not an option now because of the fires. So instead now we're gonna have to go to, we're here in Whitehorse, we're gonna have to cross to Haines Junction up into Alaska, over here to Tuck, and then take this road here into Dawson City back into the Yukon. Pretty cool. Apparently it's a very scenic route, so like I said, I'm not against like taking that option. And then from Dawson City we have to take this highway, the Dempster Highway, cross into the Northwest Territories, cross the Arctic Circle right here, continue into the Northwest Territories to Inuvik, and then from Inuvik straight north to Tuktuyaktuk and the Arctic Ocean. Pretty cool. Can't believe I'm doing this, and I can't wait. We briefly enter Alaska, and for a few hundred kilometers we get to enjoy the last frontier's beauty. We pass through the small town of Chicken, Alaska, one of the few surviving settlements of the Alaskan Gold Rush. We also drive the Top of the World Highway, a seasonal road that for a few weeks every year opens up the most northern border crossing in North America. We enter back into Canada and the Yukon as we start to descend onto Dawson City, the gateway to the Dempster Highway. We finally made it to Dawson City. Now we gotta cross the Yukon River on that little ferry there that is coming right now. This is the end of the top of the world highway. Absolutely a must-do highway. So beautiful up there. The views are endless, and just no words can describe that. It's so amazing. But yeah, now we're gonna cross into Dawson City. We're gonna go get some groceries, top up the water tank, and head on to the Dempster. Dawson City was the epicenter of the 19th century Klondike Gold Rush. Driving through town is like stepping back in history, as many of the buildings still maintain the frontier-style architecture. As soon as you start to drive outside of Dawson City, you will quickly run into the tailing piles. And high from above, you can admire the immensity of these, left behind by the gold dredges during the booming years of the gold rush. With Dawson City behind us, my heart starts pumping as we're approaching the beginning of the Dempster Highway. Even before I moved to Canada, I have dreamed about this day, and that day has finally come.